minutes of despair on September 15, 2008, we are looking at what many would believe are optimistic growth prospects for the Indian markets as well. Let me welcome my special guest today on D Street. I've got Prassana, Pathak, Fund Manager, Equities at Taurus Mutual Fund with me. Prassana, evening. Good to have you here on the show. Let me start with Lehman because it's a big talking point given that it happened exactly 365 days ago. Do you believe equity investors have truly learned their lessons from Lehman, or is greed back in the system and back with speed in the system?
See, whatever we are seeing clearly is partly because of the liquidity infusion which has taken place. But I think if you look at the corporates front, definitely the corporates on their front are far more cautious. But if you look at purely from the market stand of point of view, I think the market seems to be rejoicing the liquidity infusion by the central bankers. And if we continue this way, maybe in the next 6 or 8 months, the Lehman events might be completely forgotten. But having said that, clearly we are in line with what's happening globally. After the big leg up after elections, where we have gone nowhere as such, and the fact that we have even digested bad monsoons and relatively muted budget indicates the fact that there is clearly strength in the Indian markets.
Okay, Prassana, let's talk about the mainline indices, the Nifty for instance. Are you also of the opinion that we make it to 5,200, 5,300, albeit maybe with a 5 to 7% correction, but not a deep correction really in the near term or the medium term because of exactly something that you just referred to? Liquidity flows are too strong. There's too much buying still remaining on the sidelines.
Yeah, I think I think we were stumbling around 44, 48, 50 levels, but since that has been broken this time, comprehensively, I think we should be headed upwards, and the fact that even the corporate earnings and advance tax numbers have been pretty kind of positive. I think it's an overall positive sentiment for the markets, and we should be headed ahead. Since we are expecting the earnings seasons to be pretty positive, and by December onwards, I think we'll be again start factoring in budget expectations. So overall, yes, I think we should be moving up, albeit with the minor corrections here and there.
Okay, higher levels on a general sense, and the incline is a positive one up ahead. Prassana, just hold your thought, giving you expert insights into how this market is poised for the next few weeks to months and where you see directional shifts taking place. My guest is Prassana Pathak, Fund Manager at Taurus Mutual Fund. Prassana, let's get a sense of the color on your portfolio right now. Is it becoming increasingly difficult to pick up stocks because this market largely has been moving inch by inch in a tight band now, consolidating, many would say? Or do you believe there are enough opportunities to look for new leadership for the next leg?
Yeah, definitely. After a 60-70% kind of a rise, it's increasingly difficult to kind of find value in a lot of stocks. But what we believe is there are a lot of stocks still available which offer good value and reasonable visibility as such. So we are focusing on those particular stocks, and there are few sectors on which we are quite bullish over the next 4 or 5 years. So we are kind of concentrating on those sectors, and particularly stocks in those sectors.
Can you detail some of those?
Yeah, like I said, when last time I was on some other show on the same channel, we are quite bullish on the oil and gas space because there's huge gas discovery which has kind of happened, and obviously a lot of players in across value chain in this particular sector, right from the gas producers to gas distributors to pipeline manufacturers to end users of gas, like your power sector, your fertilizer sector should benefit. So we are basically playing this theme. We are quite bullish on this theme, and we have chosen quite a few stocks across the value chain in this particular theme. A few other themes that we like is definitely pharma, because that is one space wherein a lot of companies have learned the rules of the game the hard way. Initially they were taken back by a lot of litigation costs and so on and so forth, but now I think they have learned the rules of the games. They are well poised to capture growth both domestically and globally as well, and I think valuations are quite reasonable in this space. Apart from that, there is the general consumption theme is what we are quite bullish on, be it the FMCG space, be it the fertilizer space, be it the agri space, be it the water space. So these are the themes that we are focusing on, and particularly stocks which offer quite a lot of value as well as visibility in these themes is what we are currently focusing on.
Prassana, what is your approach towards real estate? That sector has made a strong comeback, at least in trade today. A lot of it is driven by short covering, I understand. But in general, do you believe it's going to be one of those sectors, you know, the big favorite of the new leg of the bull market, if I may call it that? It has a strong cyclical side attached to it.
I think, I mean, if you look at the short term, I think that there should be still some pain for the real estate companies, because what has happened is that they had built huge inventory in the last 3 or 4 years, and suddenly demand kind of pulled down. So going ahead, obviously, I mean, quite a few of these companies had liquidity issues as well. So on the liquidity part, I mean, through QIPs and other fundraising issues, that part has been solved. But there is an issue of huge inventory which these companies need to kind of grop up with, which they'll have to sell at a much lower prices, I think, if the demand does not revive at the right time. So I think that should hit them in the short term. But overall, I mean, looking at the broader India story and the housing sector seems, if you take a 3 to 5 years kind of a call, I think this is a great theme to play on. So in the short term, we feel that because of the run up as well, the valuations are overstretched, and there might be some kind of a correction just because of the fact that there is this huge inventory which will kind of prevent prices to move up substantially on the real estate side. But once that is done, I think, and demand revives, this is the sector to watch out for.
Okay, just a quick comment on IPOs. Are you a subscriber at all to the recent ones, Prassana, Oil India, for instance, and Pipavav, which opens tomorrow?
Not being specific, what I would like to comment is will definitely invest in IPOs of good quality companies going ahead. So we have invested in a few IPOs recently as well, and we'll continue to invest in IPOs provided they offer value and they are priced rightly.
All right, Prassana, appreciate those comments. Thanks very much as always for joining me here on D Street. So is bullish on gas pipeline companies in particular, and spoke about themes like pharma and consumption as well. That's it on D Street today, but I'm reminded of old words. Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it, and that's something that I hope everyone takes stock of when you return and think back on 365 days ever since the Lehman event. Thanks for watching.